Well, it's that time again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the interview with Craig Veltri.
Thank you, Megan Pennington, and welcome to the interview. The revolving door policy is in effect once more. Our guest is the host of The Record Machine Show, an award winning podcast that I appeared on back in 2021 and will appear on again later this month. Prior to starting the Record Machine Show, the New Jersey native clocked 3 decades of experience as a radio personality and DJ. Anytime I've listened to his show, I've always made note of his tone, his pacing, and overall delivery. He's very engaging. The Record Machine Show drops regularly on YouTube, Mixcloud, and other providers. Recording in Charlotte, North Carolina, and calling in from North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Usually that's the other way around. Here he is, James Michael Hollenstein. James, welcome to the interview.
Thank you. How you doing, Craig?
Doing great. Now, you 3 decades as a DJ and you start a podcast. Was it noticing the tides changing in broadcasting that made you want to start this kind of show?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been playing records for so many years, and I was doing a live internet radio show every Saturday night. I would take requests from listeners, give away prizes, stuff like that. And one night in 2017, I decided to have a musician call into the show, and they called into the show, and it went really well. And everybody says to me, "Well, who's going to be on next week?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I wasn't even planning on it." And once the show was over, I said to my wife, "I go, what do you think about if I just ditch the whole music program and start a podcast and start interviewing people?" And she goes, "Well, go for it. Do it." And I did it. And then every week I would just get more and more followers and more musicians reaching out to me on Facebook. And was that 2017? It's now 2025. And I'm a couple hundred, over 400 episodes, I believe. And still going strong.
Do you miss doing just an all music show ever? Or do you, or are you preferring doing interviews these days?
I love listening to music, don't get me wrong, but I felt like I got more out of talking to people and hearing their stories, some of the struggles they went through and, to get to where they are, because we're all human. We all have problems. Not everybody knows what's going on, but we all have problems. Mm-hmm. And sometimes listening to other people's problems and how they solved it, I may have been going through something similar, along the way over the last couple of years, and listening to them actually helped me. And then there was people that were going through problems. And then when I was talking to them about it, I actually helped them. So I feel it more therapeutic than just spinning records. I feel like I get more out of it.
And obviously the audience that you've engaged with, you have, I believe on Facebook alone, you have 10,000 followers at the moment. What do you accredit your success to as, or what at least what the feedback is that you're getting from your audience, why they keep coming back to you?
I think they just enjoy the content. They love the storytelling. They love the music that I'm sharing with them. They're hearing about people that they probably maybe would have heard of, and I've noticed a lot of the people that I'm friends with, when they listen to my show, they wound up, following the artists that I had on, and they buy their music, which I think is important because, as you know, you're a musician. That's how you make your money, off the merchandise and going to playing live shows. You're not going to get paid off of Spotify or, any of these other streaming sites. So your bread and butters with the merch and, with the live shows. So I think a lot of the musicians that follow me appreciate that as well. I promote them all the time on the show. And, a lot of like I said, a lot of my listeners follow them after they listen and, they buy their product and they go see their show. So I think it's kind of a win-win for everybody. It's a great thing. Spread the word, share the love,
James Michael Hollenstein, host of the Wrecker Machine Show, here on the Craig Veltri interview, a proud member of the Scarfire Media Podcast Network. Now, other than myself, who would you say is maybe not the biggest act that you have discovered through the Record Machine Show, but highlight a couple of people that you've really been proud to see their growth?
Oh, there's a guy. He's from Los Angeles, but he's in the UK now. Jimmy Sweet. He was one of the first guests I had in the first year. Um, I want to say Wax Mechanics. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I actually checked that interview. Wild kind of guy for sure.
He's very cool. He's been on my show a couple times, but he's from Philly. Really great guy. In fact, he's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. A lot of people from Michael Stover's group, like Corey M. Coons. He's a great friend and a great guest as well. I've had some famous, real famous people on the show too. I had Jelly Roll Johnson, the harmonica player. I've had Walter Egan. I've had David Reese. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's in Bangalore Choir. He was in the band Accept.
Oh, I know. I actually know their drummer, Chris Williams, their current drummer anyway.
Yeah. So. I've had the guys from Trickster on my show and stuff.
Oh, they're great. One of the most underrated, maybe between them and Kicks, the most underrated band of like late 80s era metal bands. I don't know if you call Trickster metal, but they definitely had they could definitely turn up the distortion and shred. So
yeah, there's just so many people. I mean, I could go on for hours. I mean, if you look at my YouTube page, you'll see all the interviews that are up there. I can honestly say I've interviewed, like I said, probably over 300 people. Some of them are repeats on my show, like repeat guests. I mean, I've had them on 2 and 3 times. I can honestly say that there wasn't really anybody that I didn't like. I mean, everybody was nice to me, and I loved chatting with them. I mean, do I have some favorites? Yeah, but I'm not going to say. It's like.
Well, I'll tell you one of my favorites. I'm a huge fan of Billy Joel. I've always said that Billy Joel is the greatest American songwriter to ever lived. You can make your arguments between Gershwin and Leonard Cohen as you will, but for me, it's Billy Joel. And you had his former drummer, Liberty DeVito, on there. And anytime I've seen an interview with him, always good for a soundbite, full of stories of his time with Billy, and especially the downfall of that relationship. What did you get out of Liberty in that interview?
Oh man, he's like a textbook of knowledge. The stories that he shared about going over to Russia, and his relationship with the guys in the band, how things went with Billy Joel. The stuff that he's doing now, he's been working with these guys called Studio Deluxe. A friend of mine, Doug Kistner, he's like the leader of that band. And, they have Bill Champlin from Chicago is in that group. He sings a bunch of songs for them and stuff. To me, that was like I don't even know how I got him. I just sent him an email and he responded to me. I was like in shock because
how you do it.
Yeah. And like Billy Joel is my favorite artist of all time. I don't always talk about it, but the first album that I ever bought when I was a kid, when I had enough money to buy my own music, was Glass Houses, and I still have it. And then I wound up buying all the other ones, like The Stranger and, The Longest Time and, all those songs. And so it was great to have him on the show and, talk about everything. I wish that they would like get back together and do like a show together, like with all the guys. I think that would be good.
Because a lot of those guys are still in the band. It's just Liberty is inconspicuous in his absence at the moment.
Yeah, they're called the band that they go around touring. It's the Lords of 52nd Street. So it's everybody pretty much from the old Billy Joel band except for Billy, But he's very, very down to earth guy, very talented, and I'm sure he would probably even. If you reach out to him, he'll probably come on the show. I mean, you should give it a shot.
The thought had crossed my mind because the thing that made Billy Joel so great was his ability to just do genre-wise whatever the hell he wanted, and he couldn't accomplish that without a band of very eclectic musicians. Liberty DeVito, I think, especially, I think he was the highlight of those records as far as his drumming was concerned. Fortunate how it shook out for those two, but people grow apart. James Michael Hollenstein here on the Craig Veltri interview. Scarfire Media at scarfireradio.net, and check us out on all the socials. Bonfire.com. Get your hands on the brand new Scarfire Media shirt that says a little bit of fun is a whole lot of trouble. I do agree on that one. So, talk about your career leading up to being an award-winning podcast host. You spent time on both coasts. In less than a minute, just describe how many places being a DJ took you, because any broadcasting job is go to a city, make a tape, send it to another city, they'll hire you, and then make some more tapes. Was that how your career shook out, and where did it take you?
Well, I when I traveled to those cities, I was traveling to perform live. I was doing live sets, like in clubs and stuff like that.
Oh, you were a club DJ as well.
Yeah. I was working in New York and New Jersey when I got my start at 19, and I met a group of guys that had a company, and I started working for them, and then they started placing us in clubs. So I would do all these clubs in New York and down by the Jersey Shore and all that. And my one buddy, he moved out to Los Angeles, and he started getting all these club gigs out there. So I started going a couple of times a year, and I would, stay at his place, and I would go spin at, records at those clubs. And it wasn't until 2006 when I started doing radio shows. So there was quite a gap in between there. I was doing, like I said, live events and clubs from the time I was 19 until I was in my 30s, And I wanted to get into radio. I always wanted to get into radio, but every place I tried to get hired at, they wouldn't hire me. It was, I even tried to work for free. And then like, no, you have to be in college. You can't be an intern at a radio station because you're not a college student. I went to Carpenter College when I was younger. I went to college in the city for building, to learn how to build for the union.
So a trade school, basically.
Yeah, I was in the local union, the local 608 Carpenters Union too. I didn't just DJ full time. I had a day job as well. So
any artist will tell you that's part of the rules, basically, when you're starting out. So
right. So when the whole internet thing came around, where you were able to, broadcast on the internet, I took advantage of that opportunity, and I was like, well, if these people don't want to hire me, then I'll just run my own station. So that's what I did. So I started up my own radio station on live365.com, and I was on there for several years.
I've heard of Live 365. I remember that.
Yeah, and they're still on. I mean, a lot of people still using them. And while I was on there, I noticed there was another guy from Jersey who also had a radio station on there. So I started listening to him just to see, what he was up to. And he started talking about some website that he was broadcasting his show on where people could watch him. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is before all this Zoom stuff. There was no cameras or anything like that. So it was a site called Stickcam. And
I remember Stickcam.
Yeah. So all these radio stations were on this site, Stickcam, where they had cameras in their studio when they were doing their radio shows. And I went on there one night and I was like blown away. I'm like, wow, look at these guys. They got the whole thing set up. They got, all the old cart machines and the turntables and the reel-to-reel players and everything going. I'm like, I want to do this. So I started doing that too. And I was doing that up until probably 2016, 2017. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head when I started thinking about doing interviews, and I kind of ditched it because it kind of lost its allure to me. It wasn't exciting anymore as it was when I first did it. And I just, like I said, I got more out of doing the interviews.
Right.
So I kind of walked away from it. I didn't want to do it anymore. It was like every Saturday night, I had to go on the air at 7 o'clock, and I was on the air till 11. And, you know, I just got burned out from doing it. I got more out of doing the interviews, and that's why I just never looked back. And I'm glad I didn't, because I've met so many great artists, so many great people, made a lot of great friends. And, you know, to do something that you really love and you get something out of it is special. But then to be, you know, given an award for it, you know, that's kind of the icing on the cake.
I was about to mention that last month you were honored by the International Songwriters Association for your show. You received a bronze award for the show. Put me in the room. Were you expecting to win the award, honored to be nominated, kind of thing? What does this award mean to you?
Oh, it means the world to me, because it just validates, you know, everything that I said. Like, you know, I do this because I love it. And for somebody to turn around and give me an award for doing something that I love, that's like truly special to me. But going back to your original question, was I expecting it? Absolutely not. But when I found out that I was a finalist, I felt like I was a winner anyway. Like, I felt like I had already won before, you know. But I wanted to go. I wanted to go to Atlanta, and I wanted to experience the whole thing. They had a beautiful ceremony. They had a red carpet with people interviewing you and photographers taking your pictures and everything. And, you know, I got to meet so many great people. We went to pre-party, went to an after party. And I wrote a speech in case I won, and I had it in my pocket, right? I had it in my pocket.
Right.
And we get into the auditorium, and me and my wife sit down, and we're sitting there, and I go, let me see the program. So I start looking at it, and I see the order that the awards are going. And my category was third, so it was only going to be like 5 minutes into the show. Now I'm really getting nervous. Like, I'm sweating bullets, because I'm like, what if they call my name, you know? And I'm like, nah, they're not going to call me. So all of a sudden they start reading, you know, for the bronze, and they start saying the name James. And I turn around and I look at my wife, Robin, and I look at her, and she goes, you won. I'm like, and all of a sudden he says the rest of my name, and you know, it comes up on the screen. They got my logo and my picture and everything. Now my heart's racing. It's like beating out of my chest. So I'm like, what if I mess up, you know, like, and I get down there and I get on the stage.
You've been talking on the radio for 30 years. What were you worried about?
You know what it is? It's so much different. Like, I tell people this all the time. They don't realize, it's like, you sound so cool when you're on the air. And so I said, but that's because there's not 3,000 people staring at me. You know, I'm just in my studio by myself. So it's totally different. It's a feeling I can't explain. Like, I don't know, like, if you've experienced that before, like, you know, having to speak in front of a bunch of people. I mean, I liked doing it, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't remember it at all. I don't. It was like being on a bender and like waking up the next day and not remembering what you said. And that's scary, because I wasn't under the influence of anything. I wasn't drinking. I didn't do anything. I went up there. I just think I was so overwhelmed, like shocked and surprised at the same time that I won. And I was so nervous that I forgot to reach in my pocket to pull the speech out. So I just winged it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did somebody, I mean, I've seen the pictures. Did somebody tape the speech that you're aware of?
Well, what happened was my wife had the phone out, and as soon as they called my name, she hit record, and I was walking down the aisle to get up onto the stage. And as soon as I got to where Rick was, the guy who presented the award, you know, he goes and shakes my hand. She puts her finger on the screen, and she shut the camera off by accident.
Oh no.
So now I have to wait for them to publish, like, they're editing everything and they're going to publish it, but it'll be up on, I guess, on their YouTube page at some point. I know they posted the other day that they're working on it and it's going to be done soon. I did see my interview that I did on the red carpet with Michael Botti for his radio show. That one came out pretty good. But, I just remember the only thing I remember that I said is I felt like a winner before I even got here. That was the first thing I said. And then after that, I don't remember anything. It's very scary.
Yeah, well, uh, I hope you at least remember to thank your wife during the speech, or at the very least enough of the
No,
people in the room, so.
she said I thanked all the people that I said I was going to, including her. So
Well, there you go.
I mentioned her. I mentioned the kids. I mentioned the listeners. I mentioned the guests that I had, not by name, but just thanked all the, saying thank you to all the guests that have been on the show. And, lastly, she said I thanked the judges in the ISSA Association.
Well, I guess you didn't need the piece of paper after all. So now that you've won this award, how are you planning on further expanding the Record Machine show? I noticed that it is and has been since I've been on it an audio only. Are you looking to expand into video? Are you looking to expand to other platforms? What do you plan on expanding at all?
Yeah, the plan is to do video. I did do one last night, actually. I had a legendary tour manager, Carl Miller, on the show. He lives in the UK.
I heard the audio on that one. Very, just go check that out after this interview, folks. He's very a wealth of stories on it. But you were saying about Mr. Miller.
Yeah, it's actually on video. I posted the video of it from Zoom last night, and he has chock full of stories about Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo, Patti LaBelle, Ginger Baker, Stevie Wonder, all these crazy stories in this book because he managed their tours throughout his career, and it's called Backstage Chronicles. So if any of your listeners are looking for a good gift for Christmas, they should pick up Carl Miller's book, Backstage
Ginger
Chronicles.
Baker alone, you had me there.
Yeah.
Well, we have a nice way of closing here, James, on the Craig Veltri interview. It's called the No Kidding Questionnaire. A couple of rapid fire questions. First thing that comes to your mind whenever you're ready, and away we go. Childhood celebrity crush.
Ooh, Farrah Fawcett.
That's a popular one. What was it about her? Was it the hair, the eyes, the poster? What was it about her?
She was beautiful. I mean, she was tan. She had the nice long, curly hair, beautiful eyes. I mean, what's not to like, man?
She also was very sweet in most of the roles she did. My dad actually not only had the poster, but he used to brag he had that poster on a t-shirt when he was in college. So
nice.
Speaking of college and maybe further back than that, what was your favorite subject in school?
English.
Were you into sentence structure or literature?
Literature. I loved reading. I used to read all the time. I read lots of books when I was a kid.
Did you have a favorite growing up?
Moby Dick. I love that one. That was a great book. Yeah.
It is a great story, but man, it's a haul to read.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was probably my favorite. When I have, I loved reading biographies about people, especially
I still do.
Music, definitely music related ones as well. So yeah.
That's all I'm really listening to. I highly I just finished Mark Hoppus from Blink-182's Fahrenheit 82, his memoir. He's really funny. He's really engaging. And I definitely give away my era when I talk about how much I loved Blink back when I was a teenager myself. But to hear him tell his story, it's no wonder why I found him so relatable, and he's very affable and silly, and everything you thought he was on stage and in record, he was definitely that on a page. Fahrenheit 182, completely unsolicited. What occupation other than your own would you like to attempt?
Therapist.
Is that a lot of, you said that in many ways that's a lot of the reason you enjoy doing the interview show? What do you think your specialty, what your field would be? Family, addiction, what?
Probably family. Like I said, I talked to a lot of people, and I've had conversations with people, off the mic and stuff. And I think I'm a good listener, and I understand, how people feel, and I try to give them solutions to help them. And so, yeah, I think I would want to be a therapist, like a psychiatrist or a therapist. I think that would be something that I would really enjoy.
No. You are very easy to open up to. I think you would be really good at that. On
Well,
the other side of the coin, what job, I don't care how many bags of money are handed to you, James, would you never want to attempt?
probably, probably the one I started out with, construction. It's because it banged me up pretty bad. I have a lot of problems,
Just
health wise.
back and knees, or did you inhale some stuff?
I have some problems with my lungs from that. I also have some problems with my back. I've had shoulder surgery, so yeah, it banged me up pretty good. So it paid well, but it wasn't worth it.
Nah, yeah, that I knew a couple of people that worked union up around the tri-state, and that kind of labor that they demand is really no joke. Good, at least you were union. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
well, you've jet set across the country quite a few times. What is your go-to food on a road trip?
I mean, like favorite place to visit?
Uh, Favorite food while you're out on the road?
Oh man, yeah, I'm one of those people that like to try anything.
Me too.
And that's the one thing that me and my wife have in common. Like we'll go, like when we were in Atlanta, for instance, um, I researched, places in the area, and then I said, "Oh, let's go try these places." And we went to this one place. It was like a bakery where they make everything fresh, like the pastries and all that, and they make all kinds of coffees and things like that. And that place was really good. And then there was another place we went for breakfast, Flying Biscuit.
Oh
And
yeah, the Flying Biscuit Cafe. That's a chain throughout the South.
yeah,
Really
yeah, I
good.
never heard of it before, and we wound up going there, and we liked that as well. So, favorite food to eat though, like if I go out, like something like that. I mean, I can't go wrong with a good burger or a good steak, something like that. I love seafood as well. I mean, especially living where I live. There's a
Mm.
great restaurant called Clark's on the water in Little River. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but
I played in Little River, but it was a Blue Drum, and that's a really good place to go as well if you've never been. But no, Clark's I've never been to. I think I've heard
yeah,
of
you
it.
got to check it out. It's definitely a great place. If you want to impress a lady on a date, you definitely take her there. It's nice.
I'm all the impressing she needs. But anyway, I'm serious. Moving on with the questionnaire. If you could have dinner, speaking of taking somebody to dinner, if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
My father, I miss him
How long has he been gone?
since 2012.
Um, was he somebody that inspired you to go into broadcasting and DJing?
No, but he loved that I was, and he thought it was really cool, and he, he liked, all the things that I was doing. I wish he wouldn't be able to, be around to see what I'm doing now because I think he would really love it. But
Mm.
unfortunately, he died in 2012. But yeah, and if I had to pick a second one, I would probably say my little brother because he passed away in 2017. I miss him too.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, my I usually have this up there, this question up here, and it is my favorite just because some people do tend to go the celebrity route, but for me, it is family. All four of my grandparents, one I would have loved to have met. The other three, I'd love to see them, see what I'm doing now, even though my grandfather Veltri would, as of this recording, would have been 106 at this point. So,
Wow.
so who knows? Who knows what kind of health he would have been at that point? But
Yeah.
But still, it's the yeah, those people, those I'm thankful I still have both of my parents. I'm not looking forward to that day. So,
Yeah.
um, what is completely shifting gears here? What is your biggest pet peeve?
Hmm. I mean, like things that annoy me and stuff.
Things that annoy you, and you're from Jersey. I know you have a few.
People,
Like the Jersey kick stereotype.
I don't. I guess I would like people that aren't organized. People that don't respect other people's time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, trust me, I
Like
know on that.
selfishness. That I don't like.
Yeah.
Be a good person. Respect. Respect people's time. Respect. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Hmm.
That's the
I,
way I see it.
I, there's a reason they call it the golden rule. I can't tell you how many times I had a supervisor when I was working at a drugstore chain,
Hmm.
and I overslept opening a store, and I was so apologetic. And he said to me, "Craig, everybody gets one. Everybody gets one," and I've kind of lived by that ever since. So, because I completely agree with that. Otherwise, it'd just be like cut off immediately, and I would have missed out on a friendship or two. Last question of the questionnaire: what is the best advice that anyone has ever given?
Hmm. Best advice. Well, my dad always used to say, treat people the way that you'd want to be treated. Be a good person, and good things will happen to you. And I think he's right.
Hmm. Yeah. Of all, yeah, I, the quote is from a Kid Rock song, but I'm sure it's come from more profound sources. You get what you put in, and people get what they deserve. So I completely concur on that.
Makes sense.
Hmm. Well, James, this is the part of the show that every guest should enjoy the most. It is time for shameless self promotion. The Record Machine Show is available and live. Where can the fine folks listen and plug on any other pluggables? Fire away.
The best place to find me is just go to my website, therecordmachineshow.com. It's all one word. All my socials are up there, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, my TikTok, my SoundCloud, and all my episodes are up there on my YouTube. You just click on the bar on the top for my episodes. All my socials are on the bottom.
James, an illuminating conversation. I thank you for having me on your show once again. And thank you again for joining me here today on the Craig Veltri interview.
Well, thank you. I'm totally honored that you'd want to speak to me as well. I had a great conversation with you earlier, and I look forward to chatting with you again about your career. I think you look great and you sound great, and I'm proud of you.
Uh, the feeling is so mutual on your side. I hope I look that good when I'm 30. So thank you again.
You're welcome, buddy. Anytime.
The Craig Veltri interview, where Craig Veltri interviews wonderful people, is a production of Scarfire Media, the voice of the independent artist. Written and edited by Craig Veltri. Your announcer is Megan Pennington. The opening theme, Shut Up, I Love You, written by Trenton Chandler and Craig Veltri, performed by Craig Veltri, produced by Jack Gavin. The closing theme, Shine On, written and performed by Craig Veltri, produced by Brian Cole. The new single, Saving Up Dreams, is available now and on streaming, along with all of the songs that I have released over the last couple of years. If you haven't heard them yet, well, thank you for listening to the podcast first. Please go listen to my music, because that's how I really make my money these days. And speaking of how I really make my money, time now to update the event calendar, because you must know where I am at all times. And it's a big one this week, namely the Big 4-0. On September 19th, from 9 to midnight, I will be playing at Munhall Main Street Tavern in Munhall, Pennsylvania. And at midnight, I turn 40 years old. On Saturday, the 20th, my birthday proper, I will be playing at the Grumpy Beaver Pub in Bridgewater, Pennsylvania from 8 to 11 p.m. Come to one, come to both. Help me bring in the Big 4-0. It's just another day for me, really, but I'd like it if you guys could make it. So thank you for your attention on that one. So rounding out the dates, Thursday, September 25th, Tin Roof Myrtle Beach from 6 to 9 p.m. For full dates, go to craigveltri.bandzoogle.com for booking info, including full band in this podcast. Email me at craigveltriofficial@gmail.com. You can find the interview on Facebook by searching the Craig Veltri interview, YouTube at Craig Veltri Music, and you can find me on Instagram, or as my old roommate, the Tommy Thomas, used to call it, Instagirl, at Craig.Veltri. For James Michael Hollenstein, I'm Craig Veltri, and this has been the Craig Veltri interview. With that, I'll pass. Shine on!